Thank you for the opportunity, Vinnie and Deal Architect, for IFS to present our leadership position in service management today. I'm Mark Brewer, Vice President, Service Industries. Joining me in order of appearance is Jonathan Hayden, who is one of our pre-sales managers based out of Sweden, and he will drive the bulk of the demo today. Supporting Jonathan will be Paul White, who's also a leader in our pre-sales organization, and we're all delighted to be here today to present to you. So thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you for putting a global team together.
Right, exactly. So, you know, we're well established as being a leader today in service, and it's truly powering our growth. Why is that? Well, it first should be observed that in much of the world's major economies, service is the growth driver, as per the dark sections on this map. In addition, very timely during the COVID pandemic, it is service that has kept the world running. This is just one small snapshot of the increase in traffic across the internet during these last 6 to 9 months. You can see the numbers have gone up significantly in all major markets. Why am I telling you this? Because simply put, that has entailed significant extra demands on the service providers, the telco providers, in terms of modernizing and expanding their capacity and just keeping the equipment running. And we have some terrific customers in both the telco operator and the telco infrastructure space.
Mark, you tend to focus on enterprise service, right? Not consumer service. Right.
Yeah, so, you know, generally speaking, our customers are multi-billion-dollar corporations, albeit we do have solutions for different sectors of the market. Primarily, the IFS Field Service Management solution is focused on enterprise level clients. Yeah. Which means that we, for the first time ever, and this is, you know, pretty dramatic development in the last few years, more than half of our revenue today in IFS is now derived from service management. If you consider that we do, of course, address other sectors like manufacturing, aerospace and defense, energy and utilities, and engineering and construction, this is a pretty dramatic achievement. And of course, our revenues have been growing overall very significantly, double digit as well.
Well, nice that you're not going to be clubbed with ERP vendors anymore. Just kidding.
No, and as you'll see from some of the analysts, other analysts in this deck, Vinnie, you know, that leadership in service is highly recognized. And then, you know, much of this has been enabled by our owners who have deep pockets and have invested significantly to back this crusade in service. And that's evidenced by just some of the logos on the small chart on the bottom right there. Most recently, 12 months ago, we acquired the Steer organization out of North America on the East Coast. And then literally in the last few weeks since we spoke to you, actually, Vinnie, we acquired the Clevist organization, which brought us real expertise, specifically focused in the energy and utilities market in North America, particularly around the mobile field force management in transmission, such as, you know, a lot of municipalities and cooperatives in the States. So that's, of course, you know, really contributing to our growth. So I'm going to change gears a little bit from IFS to what's driving the industry, and I'll go reasonably quickly here. There's some key challenges and trends for our customers. The first one is pervasive, and it's the move to outcomes. So moving away from my product versus your product to what is the capability you deliver. You know, in the elevator space, it's sufficient people flow. In the HVAC space, it's environmental comfort, you know, and it's not my product versus your product. It's what the customer cares about, which is the capability and the experience. Experiences are derived from services that are delivered. So, you know, was the elevator working to my expectation? Did it get me to my meeting on time? Were 2 out of the 6 units down? You know, this is an experience that I'm left with at the end of a service. And those experiences are what our customers are demanding of them. Talking about experiences, we're probably all familiar with this phrase, the aging workforce. And it's got a couple of different aspects to it. One is that expertise is leaving our customers' employee base. you know, those experts in the field are walking out the door with 30 years knowledge. What we've seen during COVID is actually a promotion of those workers to the remote expert. And you'll see that in our demo. So we're leveraging that amazing knowledge out in the field, now in the back office, working from home, in fact. And of course, it's a win-win. The customer retains the knowledge, while at the same time, the employee gets a office-based role rather than a field role. And the other expectation is onboarding new hires and reducing that learning curve and making this industry more attractive to the next generation field engineer. We saw in the last 10 years a real shift from cost down and operational efficiency to revenue enhancement. So whereas in the past, the focus has been on sweating the asset and getting mass utilization from the resource, more and more of our leaders today are looking to drive new revenue channels in service. For example, offering new services, or even, for example, in one of our customers moving from 5 SLAs to over 100 SLAs. The challenge with that, of course, being you've got to now deliver to that expectation and meet those obligations. Underpinning everything we do at IFS today is this move to the intelligent and autonomous enterprise, and very much automating the simple and augmenting the human. So these are themes that are pervasive in our customers in service.
Are you seeing, you mentioned 100 SLAs, are you seeing more moves to outcome-based contracts?
Absolutely. This perfect, because these 3 examples are exactly that. So I won't spend too long here, but I think most of your viewers will be familiar with Rolls-Royce Aerospace, one of the world's leading engineering companies, and they moved almost like the poster child for field service servitization 20 years ago. They moved from selling aircraft engines to selling power by the hour or aircraft availability, you know, guaranteeing the airline 95% uptime. If you talk to a typical airline, one of their biggest, if you like, fear factors is aircraft on ground. For every hour of aircraft on ground, they're losing around $100,000. So, you know, Rolls-Royce is in the business of providing power by the hour, avoiding aircraft on ground. In the middle, we've got Tomra, which is the world's leader in reverse vending machines, responsibly disposing of your bottle or your drinks container. And, you know, they deploy these units throughout the world. They're pervasive in Walmart in North America. And what looks like a simple device is actually more sophisticated than you might imagine. You put the bottle in, like in this PET plastic example here, spins the bottle. It's using one of its cameras to identify the bottle. It's a Coca-Cola Enterprise. It scans the barcode. It bills Coca-Cola Enterprise X amount of cents for the disposal of that. It prints a credit receipt for the consumer to get a discount next time. There's a cabinet to the left of that unit, which is where it's crushing and compressing the containers and the bottles. It's got a capacity of thousands. And when it gets to close capacity, it's going to call the engineer to come empty it as well. So quite a sophisticated unit that has basically transformed that business to recycling as a service. And in places like Norway, unbelievably, you've got 98% recycling of those units today. And then on the right-hand side there, you know, we're all familiar with copiers, printers, scanners. A great customer, Kyocera, headquartered out of Japan. This company is a world leader in document services. So they've evolved to a model of pay per copy. So, you know, every one of those units got a meter on it. They can connected, and they can see and use that meter to predict the predictive maintenance, to predict the replenishment of consumables like cartridges and toners, and also to predict the next service event based on the usage. They can also see when the wrong unit's installed, so they can become more sticky. For example, they put a unit in the hotel reception at 10,000 copies a month. The hotel's now doing 40,000 copies a month, which means they're getting a much higher pay per copy on the customer side. And Kyocera is having more call outs and more replenishment and more downtime with the unit. So a win-win is to come in, swap the unit out, put a 40,000 a unit, monthly unit in, and win-win because the customer gets a lower cost and Kyocera has also a lower service effort. So becoming more strategic to the customer, not my product versus your product, but the capability that I deliver. So looking toward the future with IFS before I hand it over for the demo, one of the things that makes us unique, and you can see in the middle here, the magic quadrant for field service management, and on the right, the IDC MarketScape for enterprise asset management. So that's interesting because you can see there is only one leader across both FSM and EAM. And uniquely, there is only one company that provides a single platform for this convergence of service management and asset management, and that's IFS. So if you look to the left here, you know, we're creating a new space that we call SPA, or Service Project and Asset. And we see so many companies, you know, whether in the elevator industry, the energy industry, the heavy manufacturing industry, they have multiple use cases that entail both same day and intraday service, as well as long-term maintenance planning on the asset, on a project or, you know, asset-centric focus. We recognize this convergence. We're uniquely positioned with a solution for them. The other vendors in this space have different solutions for field service compared to what they have if they exist in asset management. So that's a big differentiator for us, which means we can go from planning jobs, you know, 365 days out to 1 week out, 1 day, 1 hour, and minute by minute with our world-class scheduling optimization, which you will see in the demonstration. So that manifests itself in the fact that we simply can address more industries. So on the left is conventional field service, ticketing, scheduling, and mobile in the main for first generation. And it's doing a lot of what we call soft services. You know, there's things like telco operators and power, but there's also, you know, a no asset in some of these examples, like insurance, home healthcare, janitorial. And the focus there very much is on the cost down, utilization improvement with the high volume volatile scheduling. That's very much resource and customer centric. If you look to the right, yes, we do resource and customer centric in IFS, but we extend that with the SPA message. We are also outcome, project, and asset centric. Some of the industries you're seeing there exhibit much more complex requirements, like mining and ports. You know, these are project-oriented industries where they have literally thousands or tens of thousands of assets, and it's about managing the through life cycle of that asset. So if you look to the bottom right, you will see an additional plethora of use cases compared to the left, such as managing multi-day duration jobs. You know, when one of our customers sends a team of 20 people from Germany to China to service the unit in the mine, they can't afford mistakes. You know, it takes several days and many days planning to get there, and they're there for several weeks. So they need to take the right long lead time parts, and they need to have all the documentation, the clearance information. You know, they have multiple subcontractors. They have this thing called linear assets. You know, our infrastructure clients, they need to know what's below ground when they're laying pipe, or they need to know, you know, where the infrastructure is in the shopping mall, and they get the graphical information systems or geographical information systems to do that. So the summary here is, you know, we can address those simple scheduling use cases on the left, but we also uniquely address the service project asset focused use cases on the right, on the same platform. And what does that look like before I hand you over? Well, it manifests itself in a superior user experience. So a couple examples here. On the left here, you've got our new, what we call Arena web-based user experience. Down here on the bottom left, you can see native integration to GIS. So here it's showing me, you know, a layout in a town, and obviously I'm looking for perhaps the water outlets underground, or the cable connections if I'm laying fiber, for example. I'm using the Arena Native, which is the mobile experience in the middle here, and you can see a facility called Remote Assistance, perhaps on the bottom. And then we launched Remote Assistance, which you'll see in the demo, and this is the two-way merged video that allows a remote expert to support a field tech or an end customer out in the field. So really is moving the game on and employing a number of consumer-based metaphors in the user experience. So I think that takes us perfectly into the demo.
The EAM space, I've been impressed how for 20 years it was mostly a depreciation and fixed asset accounting kind of system. It's been impressive to see how it's become much more predictive maintenance, a lot more asset documentation, repair manuals, stuff like that. So EAM has definitely gone through a major change, and I presume you're more on the operational side rather than the financial side.
No, you're absolutely right. You know, service management has led the way or pioneered, but asset management is now becoming very valuable and very lucrative. And we're seeing this convergence of the two.
Great. Thank you.